Warning. This program contains strong language, auditory violence, and mental nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. Since the beginning of time, it was written in the stones that one day a podcast would come. Well, that podcast has come, and now it's here to come again in your ear pussies. Welcome back for episode 27 of the Unshackled Fury podcast, your uncensored home for all things Warcraft. I am your host, Berzerker, and beside me, as always, is the rhythm to my lead. He is Navox. Welcome back again, sir.
I'm glad you got a chance to use that because I wanted to use that when you typed it out to me this week. I was on the Frazzlecast podcast.
Oh, yes.
And I wanted to use that intro, but it's a family-friendly show, and I couldn't exactly fit that in. So, yeah. So I'm glad you got to use it here. So
there's no restrictions on this channel.
It's awesome. So
we get banned from Twitch like overnight. Can't have us.
How it threw me off there. So yeah. So how's everything going with you? How was your St. Patrick's Day?
St. Patrick's Day was good. Did it up right. We did the corned beef, the cabbage.
Nice.
Made a whole mess of crap on my plate. Soda bread, potatoes, put a bunch of mustard on it, some ketchup somewhere. I don't know. I'm a condiment man. And put on the Chieftains. You ever listen to them?
Oh yeah, my family's Irish. My family's Irish. So yeah.
You too?
Yeah, the majority of my family's in Ireland. Yeah, for real.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Unshackled Fury, where the two hosts learn about each other as much as anything else. Oh yeah, had the Chieftains rolling and food from long ago. I think the soda bread recipe is 4 or 5 generations old at least at this point, something like that.
Oh yeah, and it probably tastes like it too. It's just like
it's delicious, and it soaks up butter like it's nobody's business.
Yep.
And then after that fine meal, I capped it off by firing up my Death Knight for the first time in God knows how long.
Really?
And started working on an alt. So
nice.
Woo! Special day. How about yourself?
Well, same thing. This week was a lot of fun. I watched the North American Qualifier Cup on Twitch, and they did a fantastic job with the coverage, especially Zico from Method. If you don't usually pay attention and know what the fuck's going on, he explained everything that was going on in the game, and it was enjoyable to watch PvP. In the past, you'd watch the games, and you wouldn't know what's going on, and the announcers are going, "Oh, I can't believe that just happened." And
that's pretty much been my experience with these things. I never know what's going on with Warcraft PvP.
What they've done with the technology now is that they've put they're able to show both sides of everything going on with both teams. But when the announcers actually know what the hell's going on, they can stop it, they can rewind it, they can circle things on the map like an NFL football game.
Oh.
It's really enjoyable to watch now, and it's like, oh, now I understand why this was such a big play. I understand why this is such a big thing.
They have the Madden Telestrator?
Exactly. It was really, really fun. So if you guys are weary about watching PvP on Twitch because you don't know what the heck's going on, just tune in. I think they've improved the show tenfold. Other than that, I got some more item levels on my Druid, and I'm trying to get that Mage Tower Guardian Werebear form. And I feel like that time noose is there. Like, you're running out of time to try to get those forms if you're trying to get the Mage Tower stuff.
Yep.
Pick a tune that you want and get it. I'm done with everything I want to do in Legion besides the Werebear form and the Feral form. So those are the last 2 things I want to get done in Legion, and I'll be set. Other than that, my raid group's working on Mythic and Taurus. It's proven to be a little bit of a challenge while we're able to get the first 2 bosses down on farm. High Command is still challenging, and we hit a roadblock with Portal Keeper.
Ooh.
This week is also the Cat of Time Walking, so I worked on tanking that yesterday evening and this morning, and that's always fun because You end up the Bronze Dragon Shrine was quite fun, especially when you get the echoes of Sylvanas. And folks don't know to kill the skeleton ads or Grim Batol with Yurdax, where players need to stack in the swirls.
That dungeon was really tough. I think of all the Cata dungeons, I thought Grim Batol was particularly difficult. And that's probably one of the... And I think it happens early on in the expansion, too, which is probably one of the reasons why I didn't do a lot of dungeons in Cata.
It does. It was a shit show. So, yeah. But I am a Cata fan, even though it still gets shit on by folks. I had the most fun leveling arms back then. You know, you pull 4 mobs as an arms warrior. You use them as a mana battery. You just move on to the next one. And other than that, I'm still loving Legion. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. It's a testament to the developers and how they do care about this game. Warlords, I was burnt out towards the end of the game.
Yeah. And
I was really bitter logging in there. Like, you could tell my attitude was different logging in Warlords in its sunset because WoW's the only game I really play and I get bored. So I really should play. I started playing Witcher 3 and stuff like that when, Warlords was, coming to an end and things like that. So you play different games, but Legions kept me quite engaged. They did a really good job with that. So I'm not getting the same feelings I had with Warlord that I am with the Legion.
Yeah, I think we've talked about before is that Warlords really seem to be a tipping point for that team.
Yeah.
And with Hazakostas, whatever his vision and the vision of that management team there,
right.
They definitely learned the lessons. I mean,
oh yeah,
I know we've kind of been holding our breath collectively going, well, it's been going okay, but we've seen this before. It's going to suck eventually. But I got to say, they're keeping their timetables or giving us stuff to do. I mean, I personally am not all that excited about the daily questing that's never ending, it seems like right now with Antorus, and I'm not giving up on that because I still want to get my Lightforged Draenei, and I've got to finish up. And I've got 5,000 rep left. It's not that much, but when I look at that map, I'm like, I don't know. And that's actually what got me to get going on my Death Knight last night, and finally get to the point where I want to see the Order Hall story, particularly with the Death Knights. I've had a little bit of that spoiled for me already, just in terms of some of the things that happen. But I've always enjoyed that lore. I think it's super fun, and yeah, now that we're kind of getting to that point, I can start exploring that. But
it also goes in line. I kind of feel like the Death Knight storyline at some point is going to go hand in hand with. I don't know if the Death Knights, if the Coltyrans will be able to be Death Knights. I don't know the time period. I don't know how to place it, but the whole I don't know. I get this sort of Viking druid. I don't know how else to put it, but it's Witcher 3. Eastern European type feel out of the Coltyrans as I do
kind of like mystic sort of thing.
Yeah, it falls in line with that. But I did hear a lot of good things about the Death Knight Order Hall storyline and how it's really, really fun, so yeah. And I hope you enjoy that. Yeah.
All right, right on. Well, that kind of gives a sampling of what we've been up to since the last show. What do you say we move on to our namesake portion and get some rage? Let's rage. So we are now, a month and a half-ish into Battle for Azeroth Alpha? How
right.
far would you say we are? Okay, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay. And during that time, we have seen now a lot of the data mining going on, and we've seen streams of people playing through the game and doing different things. But one of the things that I know that you have seen and that I have seen are some of the character models coming out, and particularly some of the armor that's coming out for Horde players. And that's right. This is still an Alliance preferential podcast.
Right.
A little bit of alliteration there. And I want to know, where is all my good Alliance armor? I'm seeing orcs out here with beautiful, spiked, heavy plated.
Oh my God.
I mean, this is like
For
a heavy
real.
metal dream. I mean, it's something right out of, MTV in the 80s or 90s.
Yep.
Where is my gleaming, light-forged Alliance stuff, to borrow that version? I know that we've seen the Sourfang model for the Horde. Glorious. Right. I mean, I don't even like that guy. That was amazing. The Magar orcs, which...
Yes.
They just showed up, and we've got some kind of heritage sort of armor going around with that, and the spikes, and it's all red and steely looking, and it's exactly what it should be for that. There is a focus you can tell with the team, with the art team, on this idea of heritage armor, and finally getting, in my opinion, to what should a particular group look like. What would they wear? What kind of heft or what sort of lightness would they have about them with their look? I have been waiting to see what I'm going to be transmogging as in Battle for Azeroth. Let's get down to it. And so far, the only thing I've seen was at BlizzCon, where they did a preview for the Warfront armor, which looked fabulous. I mean, this is I think it's Warcraft 3 at the beginning, the cinematic, where they have the one Alliance soldier kind of leading the charge of all the Alliance forces against the Horde. And he's got that huge helmet on and the big silver plate and the big flowing robes behind him, or his cape, or whatever it is. And it's just this classic, iconic, just super badass look.
Right.
Haven't seen it anywhere in the game yet, I don't think. There's also a Horde component to that already. So I feel like, once again, we're behind when it comes to the aesthetics. I want my Varian armor. I mean, I know it.
Yeah.
The whole expansion, let me tell you something. The whole time we've been playing in Legion, I have been waiting for the quest when we were going to get his shoulder pads.
Yes.
Because where were they?
I
He
agree.
lost them in the ocean. I found his compass. Where's the rest of his gear? I mean, come on. Give me a break. He got blown up, all right? I didn't get the rest of his stuff. He had some pretty bad boots on. All right, that was great. But where's the shoulder pads? That's a namesake deal. That's Varian, man. Where is that coming for us? Where's my Alliance armor?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You touched on it. That white armor that we saw was just a template that at BlizzCon. I can't. I'm trying to imagine what it's going to look like when they do it all out in the silver plate, and they're going to also probably do a silver plate version of it and a gold plate version of it, probably for PvP, something like that.
They need like a blue plate version.
Speaking of blue plate, I don't want to hold on. I'm not going to rabbit trail. I do this consistently. I don't want to rabbit trail off, but I'm not getting my PvP armor in World Quest, and it was really pissing me off. Sideline. All right, end of that. Yeah,
that's a good set too.
The Warrior set's not dropping for me. It's not on the World Quest stuff. I don't know where it's at. I tweeted out about it. I've submitted a suggestion to it. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one having this problem either. I know that I'm not the only Warrior out there having the problem with this.
Once again, the Alliance is getting screwed.
Back on topic. So there'll be a silver model, a gold model, and probably a blue model. And I like that the art department's probably concentrating more on the armor aesthetics, because they're getting rid of the class sets, no, that's right, the class sets. We're not getting class sets in Battle for Azeroth anymore. We're just getting armor, and I think the fun will be collecting the transmog items. So you look, I imagine at some point there will be some great battle or PvP battle or something between the Horde and Alliance, and everybody will be in the same type of gear. Like you'd have this, red versus blue, and it'll look really cool on the battlefield. But, we'll see. I'm sure they're going to push something out soon, because we're not the only ones complaining about it.
They had better. Well, now, and apparently you learned something about the Magar orcs in this.
I learned that the Magar orcs just mean that they're uncorrupted, and they separated themselves from the other remaining orc clans that fell prey to Magtheridon. So they didn't accept the fell, and they didn't, turn their skin didn't turn green and things like that. So
and let's not go down the road of which orcs are brown and green and why or why not, and because that's just a whole other ball of wax, as they say. That I don't know. This was a more Horde-centric show. Maybe we could have a segment about that. But frankly, I don't care.
You don't really care.
I don't care that much, but it is very complicated. At least more complicated than it needs to be. All right. Well, one day I'll see my beautiful Alliance armor, and then we can clash on the battlefields and take it to the Horde and watch my ass get CC'd to death. So
they talked about that.
They did. And speaking of which, we did have a Q&A this past week, so why don't we go ahead and jump into our news. So this past week, there was a Battle for Azeroth Q&A with game lead Ian Hazakostas alongside Josh Allen. And in it, they had a whole bunch of questions. Frankly, we're not going to go through all of them. You know we never do if you listen to the show. We picked out a couple of items that we think were of particular note or importance, things that we thought were interesting to us. However, before any of that is said, I would recommend, very highly in fact, that you go to Twitch and watch the video of it just to see for your own self what they're talking about, all of the little ins and outs. There's a pretty good live blog that Wowhead did that just goes item by item. So if you want that in-depth level, by all means, please head out there and take a look. However, for us, there's a couple things that we thought were of note, and so that's what we're going to talk about on this episode. The first, and perhaps most important for one Sir Navox, the Kultiran allied race is coming to us.
So happy. We're finally going to get the big dad bod looking guys.
Dad bod in effect. Boy, it's going to be the best time for us ever.
It's like the plate just form fits to the round torso.
It's so great. So you used to kind of see that in cartoons where they had like the big breastplates that were pounded out to have like a huge gut.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Finally, it's time. Our time is now. Well, it was interesting to hear their discussion on the allied races, just briefly in the sense that kind of going back to, it's granted, most of our rage portions are a bit tongue-in-cheek, as this last one certainly was. But there is some element of truth to players really do want equivalency. So when there's something on Horde, there's something for Alliance. And what they were asked about, or at least what they talked about, are the allied races going to be coming out in pairs? So will there always be, equal representation, so to speak? Where in this one we had just for the pre-orders, right? We had 2 and 2 on each side.
Right.
In the next expansion, we'll have Dark Irons, and we'll have who's one of the Horde ones?
The Zandalari.
The Zandalari. There you go. So we'll have Dark Irons, and we'll have Zandalari. We'll have what looks like Kultirans, and what's another one? The Megara Orcs.
Yes. Yep.
So you'll have like those 4, maybe a couple of others. So there's always going to be something close to parity on that. So that was at least nice to hear, even though just small, tiny complaint is that it's, if I remember correctly, if I understand this correctly, the 2 allied races available for Horde now, the reputation grinds were built in as part of your leveling, whereas for the allied, you have to do all of your daily questing and world questing to unlock those, which thanks a lot because, golly, that burnout is real. Anyway, still love you, Blizzard. Don't worry. On to actual items, other than the Kultirans. It looks like personal loot is going to become the way. The way of loot going forward with, I don't know, with just about everything. What do you think about that?
I'm actually pretty happy about that because I think it'll cut down a lot on time in raids where you've got, raid leaders trying to decide where should we distribute this loot. Plus, you're getting a lot more loot. We noticed that when we switched to personal loot, we noticed that we see more things drop for people in raid, and I personally love it. I love personal loot, so I was all about it when he said that this is the way that it's going to go. So,
and I would definitely agree with that. I know with our raid, I do feel like people are getting geared up a lot faster. I feel like I'm seeing just my own drops. I mean, you're getting a couple of items per raid typically.
Yep.
I mean, they might be duplicates now and then. There might be just a minor side grade or something like that. But I do feel like rather than weeks at a time where you could go weeks before without getting a single drop because you're sharing, you've got 5 plate wearers, and so you're having to share amongst that plate or, whatever your particular, whether it's mail or cloth or whatever you got.
Right.
You're having to share it with everybody else. But now you got your own personal loot table, and that's, I don't know why they didn't do this sooner. I mean, maybe just the tech didn't exist, but or it was just the old DKP. That's the way things were done in the old days. We always did things with DKP. Which did you ever use DKP in a raid?
And back in EverQuest, yes, we used DKP.
You never did it in
back
Warcraft,
then.
though?
Never did it in Warcraft. We used, the closest thing we used, there was a built-in, it worked off the participation, but it wasn't DKP. It was one of those, I'm trying to think of the name of it. It was one of the more popular ones that we were using. Zeppelin. Well, right now we're using something called Zeppelin loot credit that I believe it was designed by my raid team, but there was something else that we used in my old raid team and when I was with Boats and Hosen that we used. I forget the name of it, but it's not important, but yeah.
Well, I remember that there were a couple, but I remember when the last time that I used DKP was back in Wrath of the Lich King, where I was part of a raid team then that used it, and because of, and this is why I don't like this kind of stuff, and this is why I like the personal loot better, is we had a death knight, a couple of warriors, we're going into ICC, and everybody wants to go for Shadowmourne. So you're saving up points for the hope that you're going to get something, but there's always somebody who shows up every night, and you have the hope that maybe one day they get a flat tire on the way to raid, so you can get that extra 5 points. It's going to put you ahead, so you can roll on the one thing that you really need. Instead, you're passing on gear like for months or weeks because you just want this one super special thing. And it used to drive me crazy. So once they put in personal loot, and especially as a raid leader, I was like, fuck it, man. You guys roll for your own loot. I don't have to figure this stuff out anymore. People aren't complaining about, oh, I haven't gotten this yet, and they've gotten 5 other things. You don't have to put up with any of that garbage anymore, and it's fantastic. Now, if you've got like a super high-level raid team and you need to funnel gear to like your one best player or this guy over here, that chick over there, whatever the deal is, more power to you. I'm pretty sure you're still going to be able to do that, but I think the growth of personal loot has been phenomenal for the game, so I'm very happy to see that kind of being the standard bearer now. One of the other topics that they touched on, which we have touched on several times on this show, was about feedback. And specifically what was asked of them was, what is the best format, essentially, to provide feedback to the devs? And really what it broke down to was, depending on sort of the amount of information that you were trying to provide them. If it was something short and brief, like, hey, there's a visual bug, I think was a specific example, send them a link in Twitter with a photo showing, here's this spot, and it's still got the face of Samwise Didier on it when it should be like an axe or something. When you have something maybe that requires more explanation, or there's more of a breakdown in terms of some statistics you want to provide, something like that, that's where you want to go to the forums and provide longer commentary where maybe other people can join in as well. More than that, though, they spoke about the type of attitude that you need to have when providing this.
Yeah.
And I think you can speak on this, Nav, but it's more about you providing sensible, articulate feedback as opposed to saying, we all hate this shit.
Right. That's exactly it. You go out to the Warrior forums. There's always somebody out there complaining about something.
That's me.
And we go on this rant. I just did it there. We go on this rant. It's just the Warriors go out on a rant, and they're like,
we're in trouble.
I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do my rotation. There's guides out there. I don't want to look at it. There's, YouTube videos. There's a lot of tools that are available to me. However, we all feel that Fury is broken at the moment.
We all
feel. It's proven. It's written.
In the stones.
So it's like, no, you're having a problem with it. So just say, I'm having a problem doing this. And it'll help you out twofold. Because one, I think you're going to get more constructive feedback on the forums. No, you're not. But chances are you'll come across somebody who will be like, okay, look, you're having this problem. Try doing this instead. Or, hey, you know what? I'm experiencing the same issue. So it changes it from a blanket, we're all having the issue, and then the forum just deteriorates to, I'm having an issue, and then somebody going, I'm also having this issue, or I'm not having this issue because I'm doing this instead. So I understand what he's saying, and I can understand they want valuable feedback. So that's, so provide them some valuable feedback. Also use the in-game either the in-game report a bug or suggest a feature in-game, because those are read. It's not just, you're not just putting stuff in there and it's going out to the nether sphere and disappearing somewhere. They're actually reading that feedback.
And that was a comment that Josh Allen made as well, I think, was that they have a whole army of people that read through all of this commentary. And that's, and I know you've seen it, I've seen it, I think anybody listening to the show has seen it. There is a constant complaint amongst the community. I don't think it's very valid, but it exists out there where, hey man, they're not listening to us. The devs aren't listening to us. We're giving them this feedback and they're not doing shit.
Right.
That kind of attitude. And I think that's what we're trying to get away from is this, and it's impossible, right? It's an impossible tide to fight where you're dealing with several million players as your player base.
Yep.
All ages, backgrounds, temperaments, the whole thing, right? There's always going to be that group of people that are going to say, oh, fuck you guys, fuck this shit, you guys don't listen to us, blah, blah, blah. But again, it's if you have legitimate feedback, and we've been saying on this show since the beginning, if you have legitimate feedback, then provide it. But be cognizant, that means, be aware of how you go about it, because there are always going to be bugs, things to fix, rotations that don't work, abilities that stink for one reason or another. Give them legitimate feedback when you find those things, because they don't know everything. Sometimes I think some people think they do, but they don't. And there's just so much that can happen with a game of this size. I don't know shit about shit when it comes to programming, when it comes to any of the tech side of this, but I know enough to know that it's a big ass game with a lot of stuff that happens, and they rely on players to provide that feedback, especially in the alpha, which, again, it used to be the beta, now it's an alpha, whatever the hell it is. They want people to come in and say, hey, here's what I'm seeing. Here's what doesn't work. This feels all jammy. I want this to feel smooth. Like, what can we do about this? Because here's what happens, blah, 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 blah. So, again, if you are fortunate enough to ever get into one of these things, just be mindful. Just be mindful of how you put these things together. Talk about your experience, not we, because if you ever talk about Warriors and you say we, and you haven't talked to me, you don't have my permission. Unless it's talking about where in the hell our alliance armor is, then you can jump in on that one. One other thing that they talked about in the Q&A that you and I wanted to touch on as well are the mission tables.
Oh, yes.
And I guess this is the phrase we're going to use, is the mission tables, and that the concept of mission tables is going to continue in Battle for Azeroth, where we are going to be doing something where we send something off and get something back, and it takes a certain amount of resources and time to do. And hopefully this time around, they claim, it will not be used as a time gate.
Right.
So what do you think about that?
Thank you. Yes, because it's annoying, because when people are trying to power through and level, and then you have to put your effort into, there's no effort. Let me rephrase that, because you're just going and clicking on a table. It's the time constraint. It's, I need to move along. Like right now in the Paladin quest line I'm working on one of my alts, it's a time gate with I send my followers out because it's all part of this quest line that the Paladins get. Yep. I think everybody gets this type of quest line for their artifact.
That's where I stopped on my Death Knight last night.
Yeah, so you're waiting 4 hours for something to complete. You're waiting 16 hours for something to complete. It'd be nice for that not to happen. It'd be nice to just be able to go about doing your artifact. And by the way, you're going to send your guys out and get some more gold or some more order hall resources or something like that. So yeah, it'll be nice.
I guess I haven't seen how exactly this works yet, and I don't know if it's out there somewhere and I've just completely missed it. So if so, pardon my ignorance. But what is it about the mission table that they like so much? I mean, we have enough questing in the game. You can put special events in the game. Like, what is it about this other thing that we need to collect some other resource and have some other avenue of collecting, whether it's gold or whether it's some kind of gear? I mean, but the gear we outpace typically so quickly that it becomes pointless. I mean, you get the
Right.
one weekly quest and all that, I get. But after, what, a month or two, will you ever do it again? No.
Right.
And I know I'm not sitting on a bunch of order hall resources right now, but I know there's people sitting out there that are just like, I mean, I'm swimming in it. I don't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah, I'm the same. I have a lot of it, and I still continue to go get order hall resources whenever I have to do my world quests. But these showed up, and correct me if I'm wrong. These showed up in Warlords, the mission hall tables, right? And then it continued on to.
It all started with the garrison,
and then it moved on to the shipyard. We had to do it with the shipyard.
Yep.
It's another aspect of the game that I think people like it. You either like it or you hate it. And I'm I used it because it was a means to an end of either a quest or getting gold. The nice thing about having alts, another tip that Slick Rock gave me was make your alts work for you with the mission table and go get the gold, because it's simple to make so much gold using the mission table with this stuff. So, I mean, it helps people get gold. It helps people get order hall resources, gear if you need it. It's a feature that's there, and it's not helping or hurting the game in any way, shape, or form, other than the whole time gate thing. So that's where I'm at, I guess. I don't really, like, right now I log in and I use it every once in a while now because I've done basically everything on my main. I use it primarily on my alts to get the gold, so. To answer your question, it doesn't really bother me all that much either way. I mean, yeah, to get back on your question, yeah, it doesn't really bother me either way, so.
Yeah, I remember when the garrisons were a first construct that they added to the game, I was pretty excited about them. I think a lot of other people were. You're getting to build your own base, and it's giving you different little activities to do, and the whole followers thing, and you have like your own personal army that you're building with all of these characters that you knew from playing in the past or playing through the expansion.
Right.
And there was a freshness to it up until a point. You talked about earlier, the burnout with Warlords. That garrison ended up being part of that huge burnout, I think, for a lot of people, because all you were doing, logging into my garrison timers, remember all that stuff?
Oh yeah.
And that's when I think it becomes too much. And so it's interesting to see that they're sticking with this and just making little tweaks. So they're going to make the tweak of now you can continue to do this, but it's not going to necessarily weigh you down or hold you back. And I'll be curious to see how that works, because right now I don't really use it a whole lot. I don't find it that meaningful, but it's also been a little while since I've leveled. So maybe it's just, some other slant that I have on it now, just because I'm a little past its usefulness.
I was just thinking it might be fun if they would incorporate some way so that your followers that you have would actually be maybe one of your alts that you can have, and maybe it would be an alternative method of leveling up your alt, where you're only getting like 2,000-3,000 experience at a time anyway, so it's not you're not getting a huge amount of experience, but I can see how that would turn into we're a year into Battle for Azeroth, and somebody makes a post out on Twitter, oh my god, I leveled my alts just by doing the mission table. So I don't know.
That's actually a really interesting concept. Because, we already do the boosts.
Right.
So let's say you have a max level character in Battle for Azeroth, and then you are able to use one of your alts as some kind of a follower to send missions out on.
That or just have one of your alts as a follower, like we have our followers now. Just you could put it in a game where the followers they're on a script, so they're going to do whatever the script says. So just you're out there leveling up this other follower that's following you around anyway. Why not have it just be one of your alts that follows you around and helps you? Like, I would run around with a tank if I'm in Fury spec, or I'd run around with my rogue if I'm in tank spec or something. And I don't know, it'd be kind of neat.
That's an interesting thought. All right, somebody needs to ask this at BlizzCon. Is that during the open Q&A at BlizzCon for Warcraft? Somebody needs to ask about using alts as followers and leveling up that way. Great idea. Boy, Navox coming up with all the good ideas on this show. So that's just a couple of the topics that we saw in the Q&A. It runs about an hour. If you guys want to check it out, go on the Twitch video, check it out. There's some other questions there about Zandalari, about balancing of mythics versus like raiding, mythic dungeons versus raiding.
Yeah.
Kind of the balancing of how they look at stats and gear, all those kinds of things. Check it out if you want to. Just put it on as a listen. Nothing that you really have to take a test on. So, but yeah, always valuable. Always good to see Ian. And I say it. I've said it once. I'll say it again. Warcraft is in good hands with that man and his.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So right now, as you and I sit here, we have a mini holiday going on.
Yes, Ungoro Madness.
Yes, it is currently Ungoro Madness, and we just recently had, about a week or so ago, we had the Trial of Style for the second time. And I have to ask, did you participate in the Trial of Style, or did you go and mix it up with some dinosaurs in Ungoro?
I haven't done any of this. Mainly just because, I haven't done any of this. I don't.
Shame.
Well, it sounded fun. The whole Trial of Style thing sounded fun. I missed out on it. I know it was, what was it? At the time, was it once a year? And now they're going to make it a couple every other, like maybe every 3 months now or something like that?
I don't know if they announced how long the wait is going to be between each one. I think they've been kind of keeping them random, but I could be wrong.
Well, I didn't get to participate in this one just because I had other things I was doing. I was leveling my druid, and I was, I didn't make the time to do it, so it wasn't important. But I think next time I'll probably participate in it.
Yeah, I was a big fan of Trial of Style when it first got announced. I did it the first time, of course, because I'm a clothes horse. I totally dominated my first Trial of Style, got first place. And it was really cheap though, because it was like a faction pride one or something like that, and I just donned all my Stormwind gear with my Lionheart Executioner sword, and that just Lionheart always wins. Lionheart Executioner always wins every battle. So that's just how that goes. Ungoro, I have done a little teeny tiny bit, and let me tell you, do not try to take on one of those baddies yourself, because they will wreck your shit.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. You're talking 500 million health. They've got abilities. They'll stomp you out.
Do you get any prizes for doing any of the stuff in Ungoro?
The only thing that I got was you get it's this kind of ooze, and you throw it on somebody else, and then it also splashes on you, and you get like a little buff. So it might buff your damage, or it might buff your movement speed, or you'll get like a little something extra, and it lasts for 3 days. You can use it anywhere out in the world. It doesn't work in PvP or instances, I think, but it's kind of nice if you're out maybe doing some leveling or something, and you got somebody that can carry you through. Just jump down there and try to take down a couple of wild beasts they have.
Cool.
There's dinosaurs, there's flowers, there's all kinds, Ungoro, it's madness down there.
Yeah.
It's, literally Ungoro madness. It's crazy. But, so, I mean, we have these mini holidays. They pop up from time to time. What do you think about them generally? Do you think they've been a good addition to the game, or do you think that they're just too menial to really matter?
I think any addition that they do to the game is great, because it shows that people are still developing. It shows that the developers are still developing for the game and putting stuff into the game that maybe, people don't. It's not raiding. It's not PvP. It doesn't really do a whole heck of a lot. People go, it caters to the casuals. Well, people go into WoW to escape a lot of stuff out in the world. And if there's fun stuff going on in game, I'm all for it. Anything they're adding to the game is not hurting the game. And if people are having fun, who are we to say, hey, you shouldn't be having fun because you're having fun doing that?
How dare you have those contests where you wear different clothes?
Right.
What is this? It's good to see some flavor get added to the game. I mean, that's what Warcraft is. It's just a bunch of flavor items here and there and everywhere.
Exactly.
It's just one big jumbo box of, holy crap, what is this today? I feel like I remember the first kind of one of these being added when it was the Pirate Day, and you had to go down to Booty Bay. Oh,
talk like a pirate. Yeah.
Yeah, and you only had like 1 day to go down there and do the thing. And that one, I was like, oh, shit, I only got 1 day. I got to get down there. And I did it. But now I feel like, unfortunately, I'm just so busy that I usually miss these things. Like, I missed the Trial of Style this past time around. And I didn't even know it was Ungoro until like last night or yesterday. I was like, oh, I got another one. I got to jump in there and go smash on some critters. And then I was like, no, I just got stomped out. Which, by the way, just total aside.
Okay.
When I died in Ungoro, I was near the portal that you can take that takes you from Ungoro to Sholazar Basin in Northrend.
Okay.
I didn't know that you could take that same portal while you're dead, and you're still dead when you get to Northrend.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. I was trying to walk back to my corpse, and all of a sudden the screen changed, and it was the Bolvar Lich King thing. I'm like, why am I going to I'm going to Sholazar. And I was like, am I going to be alive? Nope, I was still dead. So if maybe you're running an alt and you want to somehow get like a low-level alt to Dalaran somehow, I guess you could take that and just run dead.
Run to a graveyard and,
Anyway, I just thought I'd pass that on because I was like, what am I doing? I'm going to get lost, and this is terrible. So we have a whole bunch of these mini holidays already, but is there one in particular that doesn't exist, something you've thought about that maybe you'd like to see added to the game?
Yeah, so I was thinking about this, and I was trying to think of something fun and meaningless, and it was in the game at one time, and, with some new features, it could call back to another Blizzard title that they've had at some point. So my idea was to take Rock and Roll Racing, that was an SNES RC Pro-Am on the old Nintendo type game. If you think about that type of game, or it was just a top-down view of these cars, and you do battle in game on the SNES. It was called Rock and Roll Racing. So, Mirage Raceway in Thousand Needles is underwater. Thanks, Deathwing.
Yep.
We now have Fizzle and Pozik's speed barge up there. So, one of two things. With a Dragon Time Portal, we're whisked back in time.
Oh.
Where players are put behind the wheel of one of these old rocket racing vehicles that the gnomes and the goblins have.
Mm-hmm.
Or present-day jet ski racing off the speed barge in a kart racer-type game. So, I was just trying to think of something fun. Like, I've always wanted, like, a kart racer in Warcraft. I was big on Mario Kart. I like the comic book type racing games. I don't know how to explain it, but best thing I can do is Mario Kart. But yeah. But there's something coming up called a 1,000 Boat Bash between June 6th through the 8th. I don't know what that is, but...
Well, there you go.
Yeah, we'll see what that is. But yeah. How about you?
For me, I think one of the things that I've thought about is the fact that, we exist in the game. We exist in the game in sort of like a weird place when it comes to time. Like, you can go and do any raid at any time, and when you're in the raid, it's it's current content. Like, the Lich King is still alive when you go into ICC, and you go in to fight Deathwing. Deathwing's still alive, or Ragnaros, or any one of these guys. But then you come out of the world, and then there's like a statue, Deathwing's chin piece. There's all these things that kind of commemorate those victories. But one of the things that you don't really see is like an active holiday to say, here is the day or the weekend that we celebrate our victory over the Lich King, or we celebrate our victory over Deathwing, or we celebrate our victory over Ragnaros, or we celebrate our victory over any number of baddies. And, do something like for Wrath of the Lich King, like take Bolvar some ice cream. There's always some goofy thing with ice cream in this game. So maybe you just have to fight your way up there, and then you stick some ice cream on his frozen throne before he snaps out of there and comes and kicks your ass. Something like that. I think it'd be kind of fun to have these sort of events in game that call back to the victories of the past, particularly for players that, because I forget all the time that you have Kata babies, you have Pandaria babies, you have Warlords babies, you have all these players that came in way after some of the rest of us started, and they don't remember because they weren't part of the time when you went to Black Temple and that was the big thing, or you went to ICC when that was relevant, those kinds of things, or even when you went to Molten Core. I came in after that, but it would be kind of cool to have those moments where it draws attention to that, and some of the newer players can say, oh, I've never done that before. I had to check that out or see what that is. Maybe just to have a little parade down Main Street where everybody wears a transmog. I don't know. Sort of trial of stylish. But that would be the one thing that I think would be kind of cool, is just holidays commemorating past expansion victories, I guess, if you could call it that.
Yeah.
So moving on, one of the other items that we've seen pop up in a couple of places over the last week or so is the World of Warcraft Chronicles Volume 3, which is about to release. It's coming out on March 27th for, I think, technically $39.99 or $98, $40. And I've talked about these on the show before. These books, these Warcraft Chronicles books, are some of the most amazing pieces of art and literature that Blizzard has put together to support this game. What this volume in particular is going to cover is essentially the time just prior to World of Warcraft, sort of Warcraft 3-ish period of time, all the way up through the Cataclysm, or at least some portion into Cataclysm. So you're finally going to get a period of time that these books are going to cover that we as players have played in World of Warcraft. If you've never played anything outside of that game, you never played the RTS games, these will finally cover periods of time that we know as World of Warcraft players. And what's so great about these books is that they go in depth to the stories that we already know, and they fill in all the little gaps that you have between, well, how did so-and-so get from here to here, and how do they know this person, or how do these groups over here relate to this group over here? And it's a way for them to really start to tie up their loose ends when it comes to lore in the Blizzard house. And the way that they've done it, I mean, this is how they've added the Void Lords, who we know now exist somewhere out there in the deep reaches of, the Nether. That, that's the super baddie we'll see someday, I guess. But the relationship between the light and the dark and the Titans and where they came from, how Azeroth came to be, the formation of the races, and all of this ancient history stuff. Those were the kind of the earlier books, and then, or the earliest book, at least the first. And the second one was more about kind of the RTS time, War of the Ancients. Was kind of those periods of the first two books, and it really did a good job of filling in all of these lore blanks that. For me, somebody who reads a lot of this stuff, who loves the lore of this game, it's more addicted than heroin. I mean, it's great. It gives you such a rush to see all this stuff, and the artwork is fucking phenomenal. And on top of it all, it's still something that Chris Metzen, my personal Lord and Savior, worked on. So by golly, if you haven't got this already pre-ordered, you should. So. I don't know. Have you read any of these? Have you taken a look at any of it at all?
I actually went through and I was reading so we're getting basically, I think there's about 20 pages of text they give you in the preview. Like, you can go out to Amazon and look at the 20 pages, or Kotaku, or Kotaku. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Or MMO Champ. I think they've got it out there, but there's 20 pages of text.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things I noticed was, I was reading the Kel'Thuzad and the Lich King, the story of Kel'Thuzad and the Lich King.
Yeah.
I was like, this is freaking awesome, because I didn't know any of this stuff. Like, I just knew I was a player in, I played through Wrath of the Lich King, one of my favorite expansions. I didn't care what was going on. I didn't know why things were going on. I didn't understand why we're in Lordaeron. I did know why we were there, but I only knew, like, hey, Arthas is there, and we're going to kill all these people.
Why are we going into Naxxramas? Why is it
just
here?
We're just getting loot, dude. That's what we're here for. So I don't, But yeah, it was actually quite interesting. And there's no spoilers because it's out there. It's part of the book. I didn't know Kel'Thuzad was a priest. I didn't know Kel'Thuzad was studying dark arts. I didn't know that he was placed in Lordaeron to start turning the people, to start the army for the Lich King. All this is in there. It all makes sense now. Now I'm like, oh, that's cool. So, yeah. So, yeah, it's, I really enjoy all of this stuff and the artwork now. So I appreciate it more now than I did back then. So,
yeah, it's funny what you appreciate as you get older.
Yeah.
Sort of in line with, the art and all of that kind of good peripheral stuff that we get as fans and players of World of Warcraft. There was an article, and now we're going about a month old now, so I know that this is not exactly new, but there was an article that was put out by Blizzard about a month ago, just one of their sort of press release type things, and it was about all of the statues, or at least not all of the statues, but it was about many of the statues, like full life-size statues that they've had built of some of the most iconic characters in the Blizzard universe. It was, it started with the Lich King was probably my favorite of all the ones that they've done. They have Grom, James Raynor, Tracer, Tyrael, Illidan, Kerrigan, their Orc and Wolf. They even threw in the Azeroth choppers as the ones that were built by Paul Tuttle Jr. back in the old Orange County Choppers days when they had that competition with some of the guys from Blizzard. They have done some amazing stuff. And the fact that somewhere in the world there's a bronze statue of the Lich King that's going to outlive all of us, barring some catastrophe. That's just the damn coolest thing.
Yeah.
So if you go on Blizzard's website, you go on there, it's on their news portion of their website. They have the article there. It's called Statues of Blizzard. They go through several of them, and they have some videos and other write-ups about how some of these are made. And there's a whole bunch of them, so I don't have all of them. But have you, Mr. Navox, have you had the opportunity to see any of these in person?
I've not seen any of them. I see them on the tube whenever I watch BlizzCon, and that's about it. I've never seen any of these in person.
Yeah, the only place that I know of that you can somewhat readily see them is at BlizzCon. Because that's where they have, 7 or 8 of them kind of at a time, and they bring them in from the Blizzard campus. They truck them in while they're setting up the convention. And you can walk up. I mean, you're practically nose to nose with these things, and it's freaking cool.
I see the Gorehowl in the taxi in New York City at Times Square. I think that was pretty cool, too. I was looking at that. I was like...
The giant axe just smashing down in the middle of Times Square. It always amazes me when Warcraft does stuff like this, or when Blizzard does stuff like this, because again, as large as this game is, I always feel like we're kind of in our own little corner of the world, and then when something like this happens to kind of expose us to the rest of humanity, I'm like, Oh my God, there we are, we're doing a thing, even though I'm totally not involved and have nothing to do with it. I still always say, hey, there it is. So of all the ones that you know of, or all the ones that you've seen, is there one that you haven't seen that you'd like to see them make?
Absolutely. It's easy. King Varian Wrynn, especially, yeah.
They have one.
Oh, they do? I didn't know that.
It's in Europe.
Oh, no way. Okay.
That's why we don't get to see it.
Oh, well, that sucks. Man. But yeah, that was my go-to, so.
I'll have to send you a link.
I think, you know what they need to do now, though? They probably need to do like a gigantic Deathwing to sit on top of Blizzard Entertainment. That would be cool. And then put the cracks in Blizzard so that Deathwing's sitting on top.
I have a feeling all of the rich denizens of Orange County, California would probably have an issue with the giant dragon.
It's blocking the sunset. Knock it off.
It's in my skybox, man. Back up. Well, I was thinking, even though that they have a Lich King one that is bronze and huge and beautiful and detailed, I would actually kind of like to see an Arthas Menethil unlich kinged, maybe with some kind of paladin, light up effect sort of thing. Or if not him, then Uther. Uther the Lightbringer.
Yeah.
Bring some kind of paladin light and presence into the world.
See. Okay. Yeah.
That'd be kind of neat. Because they're getting really good with the little effects. Like the Grom one, he's like standing on dude's squashed head, and there's like smoke coming out. And...
Oh yeah, look at there's the neon green coming out of his head. That's cool. Yeah.
It's pretty sweet. So speaking of BlizzCon, now so we're recording this. This is Sunday, March 18th. By the time we record again, it will be April, or at least just about April 1st.
Right.
This is usually about the time when BlizzCon tickets and BlizzCon stuff starts firing up. So, do you think that we're going to see it pending in the next week or two, or do you think something's going to be different this year? Have we seen any indication that it won't be the usual that we've seen now for the last several years? I
pay attention to the BlizzCon sales. The sooner the better for them too, because there's usually like 3 waves of these things, right? There's usually, is it 3 or 4 waves of tickets, or is it just 2? I thought there's 2 waves.
Well, it's 2 waves. It's 2 waves plus the charity dinner.
Yeah. So, yeah, they'd have to do it soon so people could start making arrangements, because it's always, what is it, the second week in November? Is that right? Or is it
first week? Like
first
the 5th
week in
to
November?
6th,
yeah,
somewhere in there.
Yeah, pretty soon. So what do you think?
Well, what I'm always wondering is when are they going to make it a 3rd day? And I know that's probably asking too much, but I'm always waiting for that announcement when they realize they have too many franchises and too much stuff going on that they can't limit it to a 2-day convention anymore. And I think it might kill some of their employees quite literally to have it a 3rd day, because it sounds like it's a complete beast to put all this stuff together. But they've expanded the Anaheim Convention Center. The thing is gigantic now. There's no way as one person you can see anything you'd want to see. It's a good thing you can go back and watch all of the videos on demand, because even just walking around that complex and trying to get around 35,000 other people, it's a lot. And with the rise of esports in particular, I mean, StarCraft was the biggest thing a few years ago at BlizzCon with the esports stuff, and it got relegated outside of the arena now, and I'm not even sure it's a thing anymore, because they only have so much time and space to do all this stuff in.
Right.
And I keep wondering if they're going to make it like, because I think it was like $200 or $250 for the 2-day ticket.
Oh my God.
I'm wondering if they're going to jack it up to like $300 and make it a 3-day gig.
Wow.
Give you a backpack for all your fancy loot. as a means of payoff.
Does it normal? Okay, so I am inexperienced with this. Does BlizzCon start on the Friday, or it starts on Friday, right? And then goes into Saturday? Okay.
Yeah, it's Friday, Saturday.
And then Sunday's the closing. Day. Yeah.
It closes on Saturday night.
Oh, it does close on Saturday night.
Yeah, so it closes on Saturday night. You have your opener Friday morning. And that's what I'm saying, is it opens at like 10 a.m. on Friday and it closes by 10 p.m. on Saturday night. So you're not looking at even 2 full days worth of time.
No, that's jam-packed full of stuff if you think about it. Plus, people want to go there, and people are going there to meet their friends that they never get to see, face to face. And
yeah. So speaking of which, is it possible that there will be Unshackled Fury representation at BlizzCon this year? Is there any chance that you, Sir Navox, would drag your lovely wife to Anaheim, the ancient city of Anaheim?
We definitely are due for a vacation. We need to do something. We may it may happen, but we will see. I've said this before. People have listened to me on other podcasts. They're like, he's not gonna go. That's not gonna happen. But we'll see.
Okay.
Old Nav has some things happening in the background, and we'll see what happens.
We'll keep our fingers crossed. TBD that you get a vacation. And for myself, same answer. You never know. Went in 14, went in 16. If you go by the San Francisco Giants pattern that existed for a while, winning a championship in the even years, then this may possibly be a year. But you never know. You never know about these things. So Unshackled Fury's representation at BlizzCon this year. TBD, not off the table, not on the table, somewhere in the middle getting hammered. So last thing before we go, I have a very brief game for you to play.
Oh, no. Okay.
So I was reading an article not too long ago about Overwatch, which, again, I know it's a Warcraft show, but sometimes we talk about those games. And in particular, it was discussing the rise of Overwatch esports, the growth of the league, how it's, millions of dollars to buy into the thing, blah, 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 blah. In the article, it makes a mention, with not a specific number, but it makes a mention of the general worth of one Mike Morhaime.
Oh, wow.
So I would like to ask you, Mr. Nav, because I do have an answer for this, how much do you think Mike Morhaime is worth?
Oh, man.
Price is Right rules.
Oh no! So I have to go $1. No, no. I'm gonna go. All right, I'm gonna go crazy here. I'm gonna say.
No cheating now.
500 million.
Not even close.
What?
Mike Morhaim's estimated worth, as of a few years ago, was $1.8 billion.
What? Oh my God.
This was before the growth of the Overwatch game. It didn't even exist. So my guess is at this point is that Mr. Mike Morhaim is worth over $2 billion.
Wow.
At this point.
Wow. Good for him. Wow.
And the reason I bring this up is one, just for shits and giggles, but two, if you remember his story of how he started Blizzard, he took a loan
from his grandma, right?
From his grandmother, and he took a risk. His family took a risk on him, and this was 20-something years ago, and the guy is now worth over $2 billion. So listen up, folks. If you have a dream and you want to chase that dream, there are truly examples out there of people who have made it happen. So if you got something out there you're reaching for, God damn it, go for it, because you might be the next $2 billion person out there.
Off topic. Did you see the drone footage that they did recently of all the employees standing outside Blizzard, where the drone went straight up and you got to see straight down, and you got to see all the. I wonder if he has the close parking spot, because I noticed that there's close parking spots and then the handicaps are off to the side. Like,
ooh.
I imagine Mike gets he gets the pole right up front.
I bet he has private parking in the back that's like his own garage.
Probably. Or a shuttle that goes underneath Blizzard, like the deep run tram for him.
Yeah. Mike Morhaim's personal deep run tram.
From his house to his office.
Elon Musk is going to give him a call about that boring project. Oh my God. All right. Well, I think we've done enough damage for this episode. Other than this fine program, where can the good people on the internet find you, good sir?
You can follow me out on Twitter. I am at NAV_OX. I've got to get rid of that underscore, gang. So right into the show, come up with a different Twitter handle for me, leaving it in your hands.
Fate of the universe lies with our fandom.
How about you?
As for me, you can always find me on Twitter at Berzerker Rage. You can feel free to contact the show with your questions, comments, or otherwise at unshackledfuryshow@gmail.com. And you can always find this show on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. So thanks again for listening, and until next time, keep your swords wet and your banners high, and we will catch you on the next episode. Rage on!